I think 2 trillion is the right number. So something like Tesla is going to go from 30 or 35 billion in sales to grow 50% a year. I think they're going to be doing 5 or 6 or 7 or $800 million in sales in 10 years on just the cars. So 20 times.
You can spend your money and keep it too. Do, 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 do.
JC here. Welcome to my channel. I had something completely different planned for today, but this morning I woke up to an interview with billionaire investor Ron Baron. We got to talk about this. But first, if you'd like to find out more about the stocks of great companies and some stocks of companies that aren't so great, and if you would like to improve as an investor, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so you never miss any content. Ron Baron is the chairman and CEO of Baron Capital, a money management firm he founded in 1982. It manages about $30 billion. Baron owns one of the biggest estates in the Hamptons at a total cost of $152 million. It's worth much, much more now. The son of an engineer and purchasing agent, Baron became a securities analyst in 1970 and named his big dog, Mac, after one of his first successful stock recommendations.
And she says, "You've been doing this for so long, so many years. How come you're nervous?" I'm always nervous every time I get on this show. And plus, today I was listening to you. And so you have so Gates today and Jay Clayton today. This is a really serious program. What am I doing in this program?
Before we talk about Ron Baron's investing genius, I'd like to discuss the man for a minute. I have been following Ron Baron for a couple of years now. I'm always very impressed on how genuine he is. Of course, he's brilliant. We all know that. But he's also extremely thoughtful and kind. He truly seems to care about the world we live in. When Ron Baron speaks, he really seems to come off as not having an ego at all, which gives more weight to the substance of the context of what he has to say, unlike some other CEOs, which seem to be more flash than substance.
And I know that you have been a steady investor and one who says don't pay attention to the headlines. But the headlines these days are hard not to pay attention to. Do you still take that same investing strategy?
What we're making money on now is decisions and based on decisions that we made 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. So we're long-term investing. We haven't done anything different.
Be a steady investor and don't pay attention to the headlines. Whew. How do you do that? You learn in time that the mainstream media is really pretty superficial and doesn't really take very deep dives into anything.
This year happens to be an exceptional year for us. This is probably the best year we've ever had. We gave the top 10 funds in the third quarter, and Baron Partners Fund was number 1. It was up 47.2% in the quarter. And Baron Focused Growth Fund was number 2, and it was up 43 or 44% in the quarter. And both of those funds are up 70 or 80% for the year. So we've had a career year.
For those of you who don't like owning individual stock, it might be a good idea to own one or both of the 2 funds that Ron Baron mentioned in this interview, BPTRX and BFGIX, Baron Partners Fund and Baron Focused Growth. And if you want funds that own Tesla, you have to, of course, consider Cathie Wood's funds as well.
But how much of that is because of Tesla? Because if you watch the ones, Tesla is such a huge part of your funds at this point, and that stock has had a pretty phenomenal year.
In those 2 stocks, in those 2 funds, it's a very important part. It represents, as you said, 35 or 40% of each of those funds. And that stock is up 10 times in the past 2 years or 3 years. We invested in it between 2014 and 2016. We invested $300 million, $320 million for 1.6 million shares. At that time, there's now 8 million shares, 5-for-1 split. So it's $40 a share, as you said. And the stock's now 400 or 420.
Ron Baron is an extremely courageous investor. Ron Baron did not buy a 35 or 40% share of Tesla stock. He bought $300 million worth of Tesla at $40 a share. And over time, the position grew to 35 and 40% of the portfolio. The thing Ron Baron did that was courageous and brilliant was that he held on to the positions. Let me explain. The thing that professional and highly educated investors always do is that they never allow a single position to become too great of a percentage of the entire portfolio. For example, If you have a portfolio of 5 stocks and they all are worth roughly the same value, but when one of the stocks becomes worth way too much, that is unacceptable. What they do is they sell that, cut that stock in half, and add all of that position to the rest of these to bring them back up to an equal level again. You keep doing that and repeating. The stock goes up again. Sell it off again, cut it in half, and then make everything go up just a touch. But that's not what Ron Barron did. No, when Ron Barron saw this situation, he knew something. He knew Tesla was not a regular stock. So instead of selling it off, he just kind of let it go as high as it wanted to the moon, because he knew something. He knew that Tesla is not a regular stock. Tesla is a monster. That's right. And monsters are not subjected to regular rules because they're monsters. When you have a stock that's a monster, it doesn't follow the rules like regular companies. Tesla's like Apple was in the day under Steve Jobs, and Amazon in the early years when it was just a growth missile. When you get a company that has exponential growth potential, you shouldn't just sell it right at the beginning of its monster run just because it grows beyond what your other stocks have done. The proper trained way of investing is what I used to do and still do like 98% of the time.
And when we invested, and I was on your program, I was talking about how I believe we would make 20 times our money over 10 or 15 years. And so far, in the first 4 or 5 years that we've owned it, the stock went up and down like a yo-yo, and that would be expected because what they were doing is they were building facilities, hiring people, coming up with design. It's a reasonable thing to bet against them. All these car companies, 50 of them have failed, and this guy somehow had made it through sheer willpower.
I'm going to talk about all these other companies out there that are competing to be the next Tesla, because it's extremely difficult to become an automobile maker. All these new companies have to compete against Tesla. How are they going to do that? They don't have the economy of scale. They don't have the charging stations. They don't have the technology for the batteries or the motors. Some of these companies will survive and make vehicles and be profitable, but they're not going to compete with Tesla.
And raise capital. Now he has 50,000 employees, and he has factories. He's building 3 different continents, building in the United States, building in China, building in Germany. And you should expect more factories to be built continuously over the next 10 years.
They're going to be building factories continuously for the next 10 years. Who else is growing like that? Ron Barron hasn't even talked about Tesla's other businesses, like the solar business, the battery storage business, the insurance business. The Boring Company, SpaceX, and Neuralink are all companies that Elon Musk runs and can borrow technology from as he sees fit.
Well, what we worry about are not stock prices. When we're an investor in a business, we worry about the business.
Incredibly simple and powerful advice. Don't worry about the stock prices, just worry about the business. Yet I know many investors who actually don't even care what the business does.
And the short term, I can't have any clue about what's going to happen. I do think that it's now a $400 billion market cap. It was $40 billion when we started. I've said for a long time I thought it was going to be $1 to $2 trillion. With what developments have taken place recently, I think $2 trillion is the right number. So I think it's 5 times from here.
Ron Barron has just upped his price target for Tesla. He just said Tesla is going to be worth $2 trillion in 5 years.
Now I think that the business is going to go from 30 or 35 billion in sales, grow 50% a year. I think they're going to be doing 5 or 6 or 7 or $800 million in sales in 10 years on just the cars.
Let's imagine the future that Ron Barron is talking about. 10 years from now, Tesla is making $800 million a year in revenue. And the robo-taxi network is in full effect. And Tesla will be licensing their technology to other companies. If you're a company like Ford, if Ford is still around even, and you have to pay Tesla for the battery and the electric motor, how are you going to compete against Tesla? The robotaxi network will be all over the globe. But first of all, it's going to completely dominate transportation. Everything you can think of now, including cars, boats, trains, planes. And we will be able to deliver people and freight through a whole series of tunnels made by the Boring Company. When this technology exists everywhere, it's going to lead to other technologies that are only possible because of it. For example, when NASA sent people to the moon, that led to incredible innovation in areas all over the place. We had massive growth in medical technology because of the space program. It was a completely unintended consequence. I believe that when robotaxi works, it's going to lead to the next thing, which will also be owned by Tesla. An AI that has the ability to run a robotaxi network probably has the ability to run pretty much anything. You could put that AI computer brain to work to drive and control any kind of machine, and it could work on pretty much any problem. I mean, AI may be solving problems we haven't been able to solve yet, like perhaps cancer.
We do not have a lot of time left in this interview, though, Ron, and I want to get to your thoughts on the idea that COVID has really brought a lot of that growth forward.
And what we do is we invest in companies that are continuously investing in themselves, penalizing the current results. And when they do that, the stock prices reflect that element of penalizing earnings, and as a result, they're less expensive than they would be. And so when companies ever announce that they're making these investments in the businesses to grow bigger, then what happens is that the stock prices go down, and that's when we have a chance to buy more. So we are always buying.
Companies that invest a lot of money back into their own business affects the bottom line of the company. And the more a company spends, the less money they have to claim as profits, thereby causing the stock to go down, which creates a great buying opportunity.
Once everyone social distances, they work at home, and they work from the cloud. And so all these businesses that were relying upon a technology backbone, those businesses are benefiting from COVID and business and growth that was speculative about whether it's going to take place. It's taking place right now. So that's what I mean by moving forward.
Kathy Wood says pretty much the same thing. In hard times, great companies do well, especially technology companies specializing in disruptive technology.
Do you have any concern that those stocks are overinflated?
Well, if you think something like Tesla is going to go from 30 or 35 billion in sales to 600 or 700 billion in sales in 10 years, so 20 times, and is that overpriced right now? How many businesses that you think are like that? And then when you think about their business, they have, when they did this battery day, they described how the suppliers weren't keeping up with them. NVIDIA wasn't developing the chips fast enough, so therefore they had to develop their own chip. And the reason NVIDIA wasn't doing that was because they were supplying other car companies who didn't need the chips as rapidly as Tesla did.
Tesla does not get anywhere near enough credit for their manufacturing powers. Not only do they design their own chips, they are currently revolutionizing vehicle manufacturing. Battery Day showed us how they do one stamp for the front of the car, one stamp for the back of the car, and they bolt it to the battery for a Tesla. Just like that. I think the manufacturing truly makes them uncatchable.
So what I think about, the opportunities that these businesses have are so enormous, and for most businesses, they're going to have to change models, and people want to invest in growth. They want to invest in business and growing. Will Danoff talked about how he wants to invest in companies that are going to triple in size in 5 years. Here's a company that they think is going to grow 20 times in 5 years. What's the right multiple? And then for that, you're not even including what's going to happen when they go to autonomous driving, what's going to happen when they go to ride sharing, what's going to happen when they have a battery that's more powerful than others. We use different materials, and therefore you get 500 miles for a charge. And where are the batteries going to come from? The batteries are the critical point that's allowing this, stopping the company from growing even faster, getting enough batteries. So they make the money, investments in research for chips. They make the money, they invest money for batteries because the battery companies aren't investing fast enough.
Nobody is investing fast enough. What other company is investing like Tesla? Who is moving fast enough to offer Tesla serious competition? What other company is going to be able to produce the numbers that Tesla is? They're unstoppable.
By the way, I also, when I go to restaurants and we sit on terraces, people comment to me and they say, "Oh, there's the Tesla guy. Oh, there's the Tesla guy," because of you, the Tesla guy. And what I want to be known as ultimately is not just the Tesla guy, but also the SpaceX guy. And this is too early for me to really talk about it. It's a private company still, and a valuation on the company is now 43, 44 billion. And we're an investor in that, probably on 1% of the company. And what I think in that one is, well, I'm thinking about Tesla. We made 10 times so far, 3 to 5 to come, so we'll make 30 to 50 overall. And in SpaceX, I think that has a chance to be just as large as Tesla. We'll see. But in the next couple of years, I'm going to be talking to you a lot more about SpaceX than I'm going to be able to do right now.
This is the most exciting news in the whole interview. Ron Barron wants to be known as the SpaceX guy as well as the Tesla guy. Right now, he owns only 1% of SpaceX in his fund. Based on what he just said, we know he'll be building a position in SpaceX over time. So this is a real way to invest in the company SpaceX. Hey, I wish I knew which fund he's talking about. Is it one of the ones he mentioned in this video? Is it the Barron Partners Fund or the Barron Focused Growth Fund? Or is it going to be in both of them or some other fund? If anybody has any clue, please let me know down there in the comments.
But we're going back. Yeah. And when we go back, New York's going to be different than it was. It's going to be better than it was. And we're going to be providing these, and the services that we need, that's where there's opportunities. There's opportunities everywhere.
Opportunities everywhere. Let's hope both you and Zechariah are right.
So like all Ron Barron interviews, this is a fantastic interview and you should watch the whole thing. I will be linking it down below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with Ron Barron? Hey, are you going to be buying his funds? Or are you going to be buying more Tesla stock? Please ask me any question you like in the comments down below. I appreciate suggestions for new videos or any other topic you would like to discuss, either on or off topic from this video. But first, make sure that you really smash that like button. Come on, click that thumbs up and turn it blue. And make sure that you subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you don't miss any content. Most of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. If you're watching them, you may as well be subscribed. Let's join the party, man. Come on. And remember, when your money is making money, you can spend your money and keep it too. Please do not buy or sell any stock just because a YouTuber like me says to do so. You've got to make up your own mind. Do your own research. Listen to lots of different sources. It's your money. Who else better to make the decisions in your money than you? So until I see you again, be kind to each other and stay safe. And a special shout out to all the aging Trekkies out there. Live long and prosper.